Hello and welcome to Bergen Stages Television, the entertainment magazine here at Bergen Community College. I'm Jim Baumgartner, your host. Bergen Stages is our live theater here at Bergen Community College, and our first show of the fall season is going to be Neil Simon's comedy, Brighton Beach Memoirs. And today we're so fortunate to have two actors from the show, Maritza Garcia and Max Rispoli. Welcome, guys.
Hi.
How's it going?
Well.
Good?
Yeah.
Good.
Very good.
Good. We just wanted to kind of chat with you a little bit about who you are, what you're doing, how we got you here at Bergen, and what you're going to do after you leave Bergen. Maritza, you're kind of an old-timer with us here at the college, and Max, this is your first show with us. So let me start with Maritza. Where did you come from? How did we find Maritza Garcia?
So I originally went to high school in the city, and my mom moved us here to Jersey.
Cool. Where in the city?
I went to high school in Soho.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, an alternative high school in Clarkson Street. It's pretty cool. My mom moved us here to Jersey. I didn't know what I wanted to do, so I came to Bergen. And while I was here, I changed my major a bunch of times, took a bunch of classes I didn't need.
That happens.
And then ended
but you
up,
found yourself?
Yes. I ended up in Mary Clifford's stage makeup class. And through that, I ended up doing costume work with Maureen Talley and working with you on a couple shows. And then I decided, hey, why not audition and try to be on stage? It looked like fun. It's scary, but that's how I got here.
And you've done a couple, so we'll get back to you to talk about the shows that you've done while you've been here at Bergen. And Max, where did we find you?
I actually went to Memoirs High School. I then enrolled at BC. I went to Villanova.
Okay.
And then I transferred here because I didn't know what I wanted to study. But now I figured I want to do sports management.
Awesome.
So I'm studying sports management right now, and I hope to get into NYU and enroll in their sports management program.
Well, you'll do great. You'll do great. So, which is so exciting here at Bergen is that you do not have to be a theater major to audition for our shows. That you can be a major in sports management and still find time to do this extracurricular activity.
Yeah, and I was like, hey, I'm going to audition. I love it. I really do. I love being on stage. I like it.
Did you do any at Demarest High School? Did you
I did
perform
not.
at all?
I
Get
did
out
not.
of
I
town.
did not.
No, really?
Yep.
Well, you're terrific. I mean, your
first show.
instincts are already there, so it's really shows.
I
so,
enjoy it.
What made you audition for this show?
I've always had like a passion for acting, and then I come out of math class in Ender Hall, and I saw auditions, and this kid's like, you look like you could fit the part. And I'm like, all right, hey, I'm going to try out. And I went in, and Ken was like, you did great. Like, is there any time if you come back? I was like, all right. So I went back for another audition, and he's like, you nailed it. And then I got the call.
Isn't that funny? So you just happened out of a class, and there you. So no plan. You never even knew Neil Simon's Brighton Beach Memoirs at all.
And then I went home. I looked it up. I was like, wow, like I could be Eugene. And
And
I got
you
a call.
are.
And I got the call. He's like, you want to be Eugene? I'm like, yeah, of course.
That's a cool story.
So yeah, and
That's
I love it.
a great
I really
story.
do.
Oh, great, good.
I love it.
And you knew the auditions were coming up, so you
I
had planned
did.
this. And did you know this show before
Yes,
you'd audition?
I did, because I saw the movie with my mom when I was younger.
It's a wonderful story too, and it's part of a trilogy that Neil Simon wrote. But we'll talk a little bit more about this show in just a little bit because I want to know about you, Lou. So did you perform in high school?
I performed in high school a little bit. We mostly did Shakespeare, so I never got the chance to do contemporary work until I got to Bergen. And I started doing Young Playwrights 2 years ago.
Right.
And then I auditioned for my first play last year, which was Angels in America.
Right.
And that's when I got my feet wet.
So, and Young Playwrights, Mary Clifford puts on, actually has a competition with area high schools and Bergen students to write new works, new plays, and then they are picked and they select like 4 or 5 of them, and then they're produced, and you've done it 2 seasons now. Plus you do tech as well on it, so you didn't just do the acting part of it, you were...
You know, I like to make things difficult for myself, so I decided why not just do everything?
And you
so
did.
I did.
And you did. Where do you, this is a tough one, is there one direction that you find that the path is taking you at this point?
I'm actually applying to the new school to do a double degree program in creative writing and theater.
Oh my goodness.
So I'll be getting a bachelor's in theater and a master's in creative writing.
And theater being general theater?
General theater.
So you'll still continue like you did here, a little bit of everything.
Yeah.
And then writing, do you want to be a playwright?
I do.
Oh my gosh, that's awesome. I had no idea about that.
I had one of my plays produced at Young Playwrights.
I remember
this
that,
past
but I didn't
summer.
know that was a passion too.
Yeah,
so
it
cool.
really got me excited.
So you're going to continue this overachieving thing and double major.
You know, I like to make things difficult, so let's see what happens.
And when do you think when do you finish here?
I'm finished In the spring.
In the spring, so
Yes.
we got you one more semester after
Yes.
this. Great, so we'll keep you busy. And Max, any NYU? Right, you said NYU.
Yeah, sports
Good.
management. Yeah.
And I don't know their program there. What do they?
Sports management. It's like with business law, and then I want to go to law school after.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Wow. Well, that's where your acting skills are going to come in handy in law school. Where you have
I
to-
know. There's a bunch of. My mom actually said there's a bunch of actors who went to law school.
To went to law school. Do you
Yeah.
want to get into what kind of law? Criminal or just
Mostly
management?
like management, like kind of maybe I don't know.
Contracts
Yeah.
and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
That's cool. That's cool. So do you think after this experience you'll do another show?
Definitely. Yeah. I'll
It
definitely
has
want to
bit you.
Yeah. It
So
really has. I have the
before-
acting
this
bug.
is how it starts.
Yeah.
This is how it starts. We'll suddenly get him to change majors, and suddenly he'll be at NYU Steinhardt or Tisch as opposed to. But that's cool. Cool. So now, just a little bit more about your background and talking about this whole getting involved in this show. The show is Brighton Beach Memoirs, and it's a wonderful part of a trilogy that Neil Simon wrote. Brighton Beach Memoirs, Broadway Bound, and Biloxi Blues. I don't know if that's the right order, but the three of them, where Eugene is the main character in this particular show. And you play
I play Kate.
Kate,
I'm
and
his
who's
mom.
Kate?
I'm Eugene's mom.
The mom. That's the
Mom.
mom. That's great. And do you feel like mom to the cast as well as?
A little bit. I'm generally a mother hen in my group of friends anyway, so it was pretty easy to play a mom. in
And
this
so you
group.
gather your hens, and when they're late,
Yeah.
you give them a hard time.
Oh yeah, I do. And when they have things that they shouldn't, I let them know.
So Maritza, you have worked backstage a little bit more, if I can
Yes.
talk about that. So you worked with Marie Natalia. Marie Natalia is our costume designer, and if you've seen another Bergen Stages production, you've seen Marie's great costumes that she does. She's fabulous, and we're so lucky to have her here. So what are the things that you have done with Marie?
I have worked shows with her. I've done quick changes for people.
Which means?
Which means I'm backstage changing people out of their costumes in less than 20 seconds.
Great. So
to get
some
them on
people have to
stage.
go into, quickly you
yeah.
run off, you're there to put everything on them. And
Yeah.
cool.
Actually, my very first show I worked with her was The Heiress.
Oh my goodness.
And that was a super quick change show. Erin, who
And hoop
sent
skirts.
a couple, yeah, I had to change her out of bustiers and hoop skirts and all that in like 20 seconds.
In like 20 seconds.
And that was my first show, so that was
I didn't
exciting.
realize the Heiress was your first one.
Yeah.
Neat. And then you've also helped with hairstyles and
So
makeup
the
as well.
hair,
for some-
makeup, all of it.
And that's a great opportunity. It's not that we have a lot of classes. We do have a stage makeup class and we have a costume construction class here at the college.
Yeah.
But what could be better than on-the-job training? You can't even teach that in the classroom,
I
what you're going to
didn't-
learn.
Yeah, I'd never realized I had a passion for it until I just threw myself in with her,
Uh-huh.
and she kind of
Kind of mentors you through the process. And
yeah, and then like she's like, "You're comfortable enough. You can do this by yourself."
She
for
has
a
more
show."
faith in you than you do in yourself, and
yeah.
suddenly you build up I
The
can do this,
confidence,
I can
yeah.
do this in 20 seconds, believe it or not. But it's nerve-wracking at first, but then you feel like, and what a great thing, and this is used in so many shows. You watch the show, and it's like, how did they do that so quick? You know, in film, you just stop, and they all go to their trailers and spend another hour putting on makeup and changing costumes.
Yeah.
You've got 20 seconds to get this thing done, to get to another day or another decade or whatever the
Yeah.
case may be.
It really gives you a greater appreciation for all the work that goes into these shows.
And that part of it. Did you pay any attention to that when you've seen a show, to all these other elements of it?
How so many little things there are that that make the show, that really make the show.
And you're kind of seeing that too, because
Right.
there's things like props. What are props? If I mentioned the props, just for our audience to tell them what props are.
Like I said, the little things like a glove or a book or bread,
Sock.
a sock, a roller ski, a memoir book, anything, just all little things. A
And
hat.
it's so important for an actor to have these because they help what the character is doing. And so somebody's got to be the person that's collecting all these things and getting them to rehearsal, and then telling the actors, remember to use your props.
Yeah.
Which kind of happens when they're suddenly being introduced to you as well. Cool. And then we, at this point, so kind of getting a little bit into the play a little bit. What can you describe your character a little bit for us, the mother that you play?
I think Kate is a typical mom. She cares a lot about her family, but she's really passionate, and she just holds everything.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think she knows how to let go of control.
Gotcha.
She just needs to be in constant control of everything.
Uh-huh.
And She's loud.
She does get loud. And also, just I might add that the show is set in 1937 in Brooklyn. This is a nice Jewish family with your sister moves in with her 2 kids.
Yes, she's lived with me for 6 years.
So it's for 6 years.
Yeah.
So it's a very small apartment in Brooklyn, in Brighton Beach section of Brooklyn, and something has to happen to your bedroom when they move in. What
Yep,
happens to your
they
bedroom?
separate our bedroom into 2 small rooms.
So the small room that already is cut in half.
It's cut in half for me and
the
Stan.
boys have one side,
And
and
the
the
girls
girls
have
have
the
the
other.
other side, and there's the wall put in between you guys. That's so funny. And tell us a little bit about Eugene, because this play is Eugene's memoirs, Brighton
Yes.
Beach Memoirs about.
Eugene's a 15-year-old boy. He's he's coming of age. He doesn't really know much about the world. He loves writing, loves baseball, and suddenly has a passion for girls now. And he loves girls. He's a jittery boy. He doesn't really know what to expect. He looks up to his brother. Obviously, he looks up to his mom. His mom's always telling him what to do. Laurie, he always having to do everything around the house. He's really like, he's the kid who has to do everything.
Kind of trapped at home.
He's trapped at home.
Because his older brother, Stan, gets to work, and so Stan gets out of the house. And he's still in school, but we don't really even talk about school that much in the show. I mean, we talk about reading, and we know they go to school, but school, I guess, wasn't a part of his memoirs. Nothing that was really important to him. But there's really something really cool that Eugene does that you don't see in most shows, and that's talking to the audience.
Right.
Can you describe that whole, how that's created in this show?
He's the narrator. He is Neil Simon. And Neil Simon wrote Eugene as him. So it's like he's expressing his feelings to the audience without telling his family. And then he goes back to his family and goes, oh, what's going on here?
So it's what we've called the fourth wall in the theater, right? What is the fourth wall?
It's where we build up a wall to the audience. We don't acknowledge where they are or that they're there, but he knocks it right down. He goes straight to them.
Cool. So it's this invisible wall between, normally in a show, it's that invisible wall between the actors and the audience, but in this point, you just basically open the wall up, stick your head through, and have a conversation with. And it happens, you know, all throughout the play. I mean, there's moments that you're just kind of sitting at the table with everybody, and then you just look right at the audience. It reminds me of Matthew Broderick and Ferris Bueller's Day Off at the end when he just kind of go home. It was suddenly, you're talking to me, you're talking to me. And that's interesting. It's because you have this relationship with people that nobody else in the play sees.
Right.
Does that feel strange? I know you haven't done it in performance.
It did at first. Yeah, it did at first, but the more you practice it, the more we go over it, it feels like it's supposed to happen.
It's kind of like they're your friends.
Yeah.
You know, I want to tell you this whole story
that I'm
here.
spilling them out to them. Like I'm telling them, but I can't let the family know.
And you're kind of telling them what you're writing.
Right.
Because throughout the play, and we're going to see a scene in just a little bit with one of these, what we call in the theater, asides. It's kind of an aside to the audience that you're doing, but it's kind of a cool gimmick that he wrote in this particular play. So tell me about your husband, wife, and the relationship between you guys.
My husband works a lot, and I worry a lot about him. That's really how I feel our relationship is. It's me worrying about him.
And this is that part of the depression still, where every penny counts. And not only does it count for the family, but this extended family, now that you have your sister and her 2 daughters living with you, your husband's responsible for feeding them all. So I know he's got a couple of jobs, or ends up with 3 jobs just to try to get meals on the table and all that kind of stuff.
And I don't really help him. I kind of stress him out a little more, yelling at him about these jobs. Like, what are you doing?
Worrying about his health and all that sort of thing, that you're having to do all this, but he knows he needs to provide. And that's a part of this important plot device that Neil Simon has used is how hard he works, and we're concerned about his health as this goes along, and then the rest of the family tries to pitch in whatever way they can. So we're going to take a short break, and when we get back, we're going to talk a little bit more about the show, where we are in this rehearsal process, and where we've got to be before we open Brighton Beach Memoirs. It'll open October 24th. In our Interhall Lab Theater. So we're going to take a little break right now, and we're going to come right back. So don't go away, come back and watch the rest of our little show with Max and Maritza.
not know what to say, but we can help start the conversation. Learn more at supportyourvet.org.
Before a disaster turns your family's world upside down, it's up to you to be ready. Get a kit, make a plan, be informed today. Learn how at ready.gov.
Thank you for giving me blood.
Thank you for giving me shelter.
Thank you for saving my life.
Support the Red Cross and change a life, starting with your own.
Any questions?
What kind of service plan does this come with?
Unlimited.
Can I keep my same phone number? Does it have a camera? What's the warranty? Can I put my party shuffle on this?
Any questions?
No.
For the 10 questions everyone should know, go to ahrq.gov.
The odds of this daughter of a clergyman spending 11 weeks at #1 on the U.S. singles charts? 1 in 19 million. The odds of going on to win 6 Grammy Awards? 1 in 1.4 million. The odds of having a child diagnosed with autism? 1 in 150. I'm Toni Braxton, and I encourage you to learn the signs of autism at autismspeaks.org.
Welcome back to the show. We're here today with Maritza Garcia and Max Rispoli, two of the actors from Bergen Stage's upcoming production, Brighton Beach Memoirs. Guys, so we've been talking a little bit about the play and about your characters, but let's talk a little bit about the rehearsal process. So we know that, Max, you just kind of stumbled into these auditions, and Maritza, you auditioned, you knew what you were getting in for, and then you kind of did your homework, got called back, and then you started rehearsing. What's the first step? Ken Bonifants is the director, and Ken is just a gifted, wonderful director. He makes you feel comfortable, am I right? I mean,
Yes.
you know, every step of the way he's right there for you. And you've worked with a couple of directors, so it's kind of nice to have this this calm teddy bear just kind of giving you all this direction. But he's good. So what's the process now of you got cast, you went to your first read through, and then what happens?
After that, I looked at the schedule. Like, he gave us our schedule, how many nights we'd be there, what we'd be doing each night. And then I realized, you know, schedules are, how do I put this? They're not always exact. They're just kind of a guideline. So we'd go in thinking we'd go up to only a certain point, but he said, you know what? You have so much momentum going. Let's just
keep charging
go
ahead.
further. And I appreciate that, though, because being able to do that, it made me realize I really have to get into this. I really need to just dive straight in and feel who my character is, and really work on getting my lines down.
Right, well, and which is important as an actor. But before all that happens, he started giving all the blocking, and it sounds like he didn't change the schedule, suddenly calling you in that you didn't have to be there, but it was more of, hey, you were all here, let's go a couple more pages along the way there. And so he starts with what's called blocking, and for our audience, Max, can you explain what we mean by blocking?
Blocking is what you have to do when you say the lines, like where you have to be, what you have to do, who you're talking to, all the little things that you have to do on stage, not just standing there and reading your lines. You have to know what to do and how to do them.
And it's not just on stage. Tom O'Neill is our set designer for this play, and he's created a kind of magical set. Tell us about the setting that you're in. Where are we? We
are in the Brighton Beach in the borough of Brooklyn, Kings County, city of New York, and it feels that way. Like we're all in a tight area.
And he's created an apartment. And it's not just one room of an apartment. What has he done? I think it's a fascinating set.
It's like 3 rooms maybe tops. And it's just so tight, and you feel like you're really in an apartment because there's so many people and so little space that it's all cramped.
I mean, but you do have the kitchen. You've got the living room, dining room area.
And we have stairs that lead up to 2 bedrooms.
And a bathroom.
And a bathroom.
And a hallway that would go to more of the bedrooms.
Yes.
So in this small, it's in our Black Box Theater, which is our smaller theater that seats 96. In it, he's created this whole 2-story building with cutaway walls that you're able to see through the walls to be able to see what's happening in bedrooms and bathrooms. And
it's really amazing.
It really is amazing what got squeezed in. So it's squeezed into our Black Box Theater, and it's working, and it looks like this family's tightly in this apartment, but it's what it would have been like sticking 3 extra people into a family like this sort of thing there. Good, so you started blocking. He gave you all the movement of where you have to be, whether it's in the kitchen, Wait, there's even an outside backyard.
Yes, there is.
Yeah, where you do a lot of baseball.
Baseball, football, yeah.
Yeah, that's your little playground is this little
yeah.
pad outside the kitchen.
Right outside the kitchen, yeah.
And so it's set in summer, early spring.
Early spring.
Early spring in Brighton. Screen doors and that whole feeling, very, very neighborhoody.
Yeah.
Mom can yell out and get the kid inside and all that kind of stuff. The grocer's right around the corner and sends you on errands all the time. So it's just kind of a cool slice of life kind of feeling, and really introduced us to the Jerome family here. And so you started blocking in. Now you're at the point of doing run-throughs, because once it's done, you start running through it. And we did something, I think, tough last night for the actors. It's something that we call a designer run-through. And can you explain for our audience out there what we mean by the designer run-through? What we gather, I'll help with that. We gather all our designers, the set designer, the lighting designer, sound designer, props coordinator, costume, all of them are there to watch.
So we're on stage running through the play. There's lights going. We're in our rehearsal costumes. And that's for you guys to see what we look like walking around stage, right? This is for the lights and where we need to be lit and where it should be dark. And it was nerve-wracking last night.
and we try to stress that this isn't a performance, that we're not there to watch you perform, but I think as an actor you can't get that out of your head. It's like, oh yeah, but there are people, strangers in this room now watching us do what we do. We want to do the best, and of course, but it's a great wake-up call. You said an interesting thing, so I'm going to pick on Max, but what are rehearsal costumes? What the heck is a rehearsal costume?
It's actually what we're going to be wearing during the show. So like you guys want to get a feel if it's right, if it looks right from the audience, and see where we are, see how it is.
Does it change the way Max is when he wears this?
100%. It really makes me feel like Eugene. It puts me, as soon as I put it on, I feel Eugene. Like it just runs through me, and I'm like, okay, like.
So
wow.
Some of it might be actual, but a lot, especially shoes and things like that, because you walk differently. You're not in your tennis shoes, you're in a different kind of shoe, so it does suddenly create your character a little different. So you start working with rehearsal things very early on, because I think just like lines and blocking and props, it's important to have that part of it. So we have this, you poor things, this designer run through, and I know I've been on the actor side of this. As a director, I suffer through it as well. We're just as nervous going, we want it to be great. But we know that we have a couple of weeks before the show opens, but it gives us an opportunity to truly watch what you guys are doing on the stage there, where you're moving and what you're doing, and anything we have to change. If suddenly Eugene's doing cartwheels, we know we need to put him in something, not that you do, but we have to put him in something different. And there's a lot of stuff that happens in this show. Oh yeah. You guys eat a lot.
We're having dinner twice at least.
And you're not just having it, you're cooking it.
I'm cooking, we're having tea. We have little moments where I'm in the kitchen, I'm poking around and baking a cake. There's a lot going on.
Bread,
ice cream,
groceries,
groceries. You're constant groceries.
I send him out a lot. He's my go-to guy.
But it's fun. And then the family all sits down to a wonderful meal of liver, which is Eugene's favorite food.
Oh man.
So now what's going to happen in the next couple of weeks? Because this thing opens on the 24th. And so we're at that point, we've done the designer run through, so the designers know their homework. They know what scenery they've got to finish, they know what costumes need to be, all the things we've talked about. So what do the actors do in the next couple of weeks to get this ready? What is your...
We have to tighten up a little bit.
What does that mean?
Because yesterday we were a little loose, we're still adapting to where to be. We just got all the props now, so we just got to tighten up a little bit, and I think we're gonna be good.
It's gonna be awesome.
It's gonna be good.
And I think it's about the lines, just getting the lines so that they just become a natural flow of things with you guys, so that you're just kind of making it like this family thing. How are you feeling about the next couple of weeks?
I feel like Tech Week is coming up, and that's always really scary for me, because I've been on both sides, and I know what goes into what we have to do.
So tell our audience, what do you mean by Tech Week? What's getting ready to happen?
So Tech Week is where we tighten up. All our cues are tightened up, lighting, set is tightened up, all the props are done. So all that technical stuff is done. And we're going to be on stage and running through the show over and over and over again until we get it perfect.
Timing and just it's a comedy, but it also is a very touching comedy. So it has a wonderful. So tell us a little bit about the story itself. So Eugene is talking to the audience. What are these memoirs? What's happening in this play?
It's about like his life, how he's adapting to it. He doesn't know what to expect in life.
We know he's coming of age.
He's coming of age.
Earlier.
Yes, he doesn't even hit puberty until like mostly the end of the play. So he doesn't really know what to expect. He's always been going on these errands. He doesn't, he doesn't really know what to expect or what's happening. And he's trying to get a feel for what life is.
And does he?
At the end, yes, he does.
He does.
He comes of age. Yes.
And he learns it a lot through his brother. His brother is kind of his mentor and teaches him through life about post-puberty things and things like that to think about, but also talks about responsibility. And I think we watch, Maritza, we watch you and your husband dealing with responsibility. What is their journey in this play?
I don't want to give it away.
Give a little bit. You don't have to give the ending.
I realized my husband loses one of the jobs that he had, and we take a hard look at what we're doing and how many people we have in the family and what needs to be done. And I kind of get a little harder on my boys, and I want them to realize that it's not going to be easy.
Well, as we said, it's the depression, and every penny counts, and then
it's also the war.
And the war is about to mount, and of course you have relatives over in Poland and Germany, and so you're worried about them. So there's this climate that is kind of over the family all the time about this impending war that's about to happen.
And relatives from out of the blue possibly showing up and not knowing how, if we can't provide for the 7 people in our house now, how are we supposed to help people coming overseas?
But you know you would. It's like,
but we do,
You do. Family does for family, and I think you learn a lot of that. And it's interesting, part of the show, the husband loses one of his jobs because the company goes bankrupt. It's not anything he did, but at the same time, your brother does what? What happens to his?
He actually ends up gambling all the money he gained.
Before that one, he kicks this dirt on the boss's shoes.
Yeah. Oh yeah, he got fired from his job. Yeah, that's right. He did a little temper tantrum.
Yep.
He lost his job, and then
the family needs his money.
It's
it's not like his own money to go spend at the drive-in movie. This guy was a supporter of the family.
Yeah. And then he gambles the rest of the money he had. And then he joins the army because he knows Pop was going to kill him.
He's so embarrassed. Let's try to run out of town and make this thing not that's so funny. So as the show goes along and we're getting ready for opening night, are you feeling good? Are you feeling like it's going to happen?
I was nervous. I was nervous to begin with, but now I just feel like I'm
nervous.
more,
back the first day of rehearsal.
Yeah, the first few days, like first week, and then now I'm just like everyone became more comfortable. We're a family now, so.
Well, you've got a wonderful cast. It's just wonderful to see you guys starting to click and really coming like a family, getting together, and just the arguing and all that just seems it's really becoming so natural and looking real. So I know that you've got a winner coming up there. We just kind of a few plugs. We do, like I said, have Marie Natali doing the costumes, which you guys have been putting on, fitting on. Some are getting haircuts. Some are all these kind of things are happening, getting ready for the show.
I dyed my hair.
You dyed your hair. So much is happening with just the looks that you have. We have John Ehrenberg, who was fiddling with lights last night, is our light designer. We know that we have, as I said, Tom O'Neill had done the set and the scenery for the show. So we've got a great cast. Dan Conrad's collecting all these props. Dimitri's doing the sound, so that we got music coming from the radio. So all these bits and pieces are now coming together so that we have a great opening night.
Yeah.
So we're so lucky you guys are going to do a short little scene for us, right? Yep. And this scene is between mother and son. It's just one of those moments that you break the fourth wall talking to the audience, and then you come right in ignoring that he's talking to the audience. Here is a scene from Brighton Beach Memoirs.
What I'm about to tell you next is so secret and private, I've left instructions in my memoirs not to be opened till 30 years after my death. I, Eugene Morris Jerome, have committed a mortal sin by lusting after my cousin Nora. I can tell you all this now, because I'll be dead by the time you guys are reading this. If I had a chance to have a tryout with the Yankees, or to see Nora's bare breast for 2.5 seconds, I'd have some serious thinking to do.
Eugene!
What?
I need bread.
What?
I don't have enough bread. I need you to run across the Greenblatt's and get a fresh rye bread.
Again? I went to the store this morning.
So you'll go again this afternoon.
That's all I'm doing is going to the store. When I grow up, that's all I'll be trained to do, is go to the store.
You don't want to go? That's fine. I'll go.
Don't do that. Don't make me feel guilty. I'll just go.
And I need an extra quarter pound of butter.
A quarter pound of butter? I bought a quarter pound this morning. Why don't we buy a half pound at a time?
And suppose the whole house burned down this afternoon. What would I need an extra quarter pound of butter for?
If my mother taught logic in high school, this would be some weird country.
Great, guys. Terrific scene. So, Maritza, Garcia, thank you so much. Mac Rispoli, thank you. Tickets are on sale now for Brighton Beach Memoir at the Bergen Community College's Indoor Hall Lab Theater. Come back and see the show.